All right, I hope I made you smile this Sunday. Welcome to day 7 of 100 days of creating content. It's set to be an amazing one. And if you are getting content from me on Sunday, you'd ideally do that someone usually leads to something that is tight, right? It's something that is tight. But you would not be wrong to think about it that way. But I just thought to do it to spice it up a little bit by now making a video. I'm sure this is going to be a surprise for my Substack. But don't you worry, there is still the typed version. So if you prefer to still read articles, you're going to sit in Substack, you're going to sit in Medium, you're going to sit on my LinkedIn page. But for those who want video, prefer video, of course, you can see video right on Substack as well. They can also see video on YouTube, they can see video on Instagram, just wherever I share this particular thing. And then for the audio notes, you're going to be able to get the audio notes also on Substack as well as on Spotify. If you're on Spotify, you can easily get this. All right, so what am I going to be talking about today? I want to look at our consumer goods companies. So think of the guys who produce your toothpaste. Think of the guys that produce your processed food, your wheat flour, your pasta, your noodles, all of those things. They are called consumer goods companies, right? And there's a bigger term for them. It's called fast-moving consumer goods. Basically, you're always shopping for them. They're typically the things that the small shops in your neighborhood stock up with, the things your supermarkets have most of their customers purchasing every single day. They move quickly, like. And one characteristic of this product is that they have thin margins. So everybody who sells it understands that it works on very thin margins. It works with a lot of supply chain, meaning who's supplying who, and who am I supplying. So it's a pretty interesting industry, and every country has a robust FMCG industry. The reason being that it's at a basic level. If you don't have a robust FMCG industry, you don't have anything in your country for real. But in Nigeria, we've seen this industry that has been robust, that has been defensive, come under severe issues in recent times. And while there are tons of things that explain it, today in particular, I want to bring out a subset or a set of issues that explain it, and I call them global macro issues. Now, big English, but let's break it down. Global macro issues just refers to things that we've seen around the world that have affected the world's economy, and as a result of that effect is affecting our local FMCGs in one way or the other. So I'm going to be detailing these global issues. I'm also going to be showing the parts of the FMCGs, financials that is affecting, and ultimately I'm going to tell you how our FMCGs are responding to this thing. Here is the second interesting kicker in all of this. This is going to be a two-part series, so expect lots of two-part series on Sundays, right? Meaning I'm going to give you the juice, then I'll just pause like a cliffhanger. I say to be continued, kind of like a super story, but this is for knowledge sake, no entertainment. But I hope I'm still entertaining you a bit, yeah? You're welcome. All right, let's get right into it. So what are some of the global macro issues that we have seen? Number one, I'm going to start on the sweet side that has made it not so sweet, is sugar. So what's been the global macro issue that's affecting sugar? El Nino. And let me tell you, sugar is involved in so many industries in our country that we may even miss it, or so many businesses that we may miss it. We think of sugar, oh, I buy sugar. No, but it's in soft drink, it's in chocolate, it's in biscuit, it's in sweet, it's in other drinks as well that are not what you just call in think of soft drinks, yeah? And somebody who posted recently said that, or someone was telling me that even sugar cubes are no longer that sweet. At least what I noticed was that soft drinks are no longer that sweet. I can't be too plain. I don't typically take a lot of those. I mean, I really do. But if you actually do it, I notice by now that it's no longer supposed to be. I know they put on your bottles less sugar for your health. It's not really your health. It's that sugar cost. So what's El Nino? El Nino is basically this natural phenomenon that affects weather patterns around the Pacific Ocean. That's a normal thing that's been happening, but in recent times it is believed that climate change, that's the guy I'm trying to remember. Climate change has affected that particular El Nino, this weather pattern. So it's from last year to just recently where it was said that it's now over, right? It affected production of different crops, different plantations, but one that was really affected was sugar. So we saw Thailand and India, second and third largest producers of sugar. We saw them affected in terms of their production. And when production is affected, there's only so much they can actually supply to the rest of the world. I mean, Brazil is expected to be able to, kind of fix the supply, gap, but that will be till like next year or late this year. So already there was like, a shortage last year, 2023, and the affected sugar prices went up. So some countries that even produce sugar, they had to, restrict exports. A country like Kenya also was affected. A country like Kenya that for a while was self-sufficient in sugar now had to import a lot last year. A country like Nigeria that is supposed to be self-sufficient in sugar, I don't need to tell you that we're not. Now we import tons and tons of sugar. We're a huge importer of raw sugar, and so we got affected. To think of it, what happened to FX rates. Now you're seeing what happened to production of sugar and of course global supply. Sugar prices just did some really crazy numbers. So some of the effects you can actually see is, for instance, the companies that produce that refine sugar, flour mills, Dangote, their revenues did boom because of higher prices. But one thing you also need to be sure is that volumes for some consumer goods products dropped last year because of course we have our own inflation, we have our own general living crisis that just making it's harder to buy all the things you usually would buy. But prices are shooting up, which is what is keeping these companies' revenues elevated. Once their cost price goes up, they just do the revenue, so their selling price like it goes up. Okay, so that's it for sugar. And next is crude oil. For crude oil, we've seen crude oil prices stay elevated this year. Like it's not 80, 82, 85, and it recently crossed $90 per barrel. If it were me 10 years ago, say I was this old 10 years ago, I would have been super excited that Nigeria is going to rake in a lot of money because revenues will go up. We're producing oil at 1.8 to 2.2 million barrels, and of course it does not affect fuel price because there's subsidy, right? The subsidy. So I'll be super excited, but not now. Unfortunately, not now. Our production is languishing somewhere between 1.3, 1.4. If it is 1.5, we'll do. Now good. We say thank you, Jesus. We'll just be grateful, right? Sad, yeah. And now subsidy is gone, so we see higher prices, right? But I think they see some subsidy because if not, by now we'll not be buying this fuel at 600, 650. It will be way higher. But you see that for us. But then for the manufacturers, a lot of them use diesel, and there's no subsidy in diesel. As price of crude oil is going up, the diesel price is jumping up. There's a bit of respite now because of Dangote refinery, but the last year, which you are really looking at, their price of energy went up. So you can see a lot of them have increase in their OPEX. Those that had very minute increases in OPEX in their operating expenses, they have to do a lot of cost cutting just to keep their OPEX in check. But energy costs were high because of diesel prices kept on going up. During COVID, I think it was about 250 naira for a liter of diesel thereabouts, if I'm not mistaken. Then at the end of last year, it was already touching I think 1.5. Some of the smaller companies literally went out of business. So you look at OPEX going higher, it would just also mean that there would now be greater discrepancies between ex-factory price and then probably the retailer's price. So ex-factory price simply means how much are the off-takers buying these things from the producers, the manufacturers, and then retail price, of course, how much is it being sold in the market. Before now, it would be very thin, because it be thin margins, right? But now it's wider because they have to pay more for transportation. Okay, it's not like anybody's making more money, just that energy prices have gone up, diesel price is higher, they have to factor that in, and so everything's a lot more expensive. All right, so I'm going to be stopping here for today, and you don't want to miss the competition next week. It's going to be exciting, it's going to be insightful. We're looking at more global macro issues, how it's affecting our FMCGs, and I'll now wrap it up with some of the ways they are also responding. I already gave some of the ways, increasing prices, and all of that. But there'll be other interesting reads you need to check out when you follow next week Sunday. Don't forget to like, share, comment, tell your friends. Okay, have a good week.